I only need one thing in my life. 1,000,000 views.
I would like, if we're doing a list, I would like 1,000,000 subscribers over and both. No, you want just views one time?
One time, 1,000,000 views. Nothing else after that.
This is why we're unsuccessful, Dan. Your business plans are flawed. Okay?
Just want to be successful one day in my life. That's enough.
One and done. And we retire on top.
Hey, watch it! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch it! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey, watch it, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
And on Hate Watching, we watch a movie that one of us picks, and then we dissect it. We get out the scalpel and the forceps.
Great.
And the
great. Two real terms.
We cut along the thorax, and then we peel back the skin or the chitinous armor of whatever we're looking at. And then we pull out each organ, and we go. What I'm saying here is scarier and funnier than the movie we watched this week.
Dan, listen, as funny as that was, I laughed really hard during this movie. I mean, tears are coming down my cheeks. I had a great time. You didn't enjoy this movie? This was a real treat for me.
This movie, I wanted to make an autopsy on what's wrong with you.
With me personally?
Yeah, exactly.
You're turning this into a personal attack?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
What is broken inside a person that they could enjoy this movie? We haven't told them what the movie is yet, but that's what I wanted to get to the bottom of today.
In general, here's what I'll say. Most people don't like that our podcasts go for 90-ish minutes, right? Yeah. If you want to get into my personal problems at the beginning of the show, we're going to go for a long, long time. So I'm just warning everybody now, this could be the longest episode that we have.
So why don't you tell us about the movie you picked?
The movie that I picked, and I am damn proud of it. Let me just say that I'm proud of my pick. I stand by my pick, and I would watch this movie again in the future.
You probably will.
Of course, it's Halloween season, and we're having a good time. What's better than, sort of zombies? Nothing. So I went with the tried and true classic House of the Dead, based on one of the best video games ever made.
Oh, okay. Uwe Boll.
Is that how I didn't say it because I never know how to say his name, so I just omitted that part of it.
I think it's either Yui or Uwe.
All right, I believe you.
Two things about this movie I liked. Two positive things I could say about this movie. I'll get to the other one when we get to it. But the number one thing is
get one now, one later.
He got better.
Oh, because we also watched Alone in the Dark.
Which was kind of his second film. This was his first sort of mainstream video game movie. He got better. Much better movie. Much better movie.
Which is... does that mean that you are excited for next Halloween when we watch Blood Rain, his third movie?
I will be. Because...
There you go. Okay.
If he just gets a little fraction... Because I'll remember this movie and how terrible it was. And how I'm like... Man, I wish I was watching Afraid of the Dark, and then I'll be like Blood Rain. I'm
Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark. I'll be like, well, it should be at least kind of as good as that.
I don't know, Dan. I really don't know. I hope so. Here's what I will say about Alone in the Dark, though. Not the problem with that line of thinking, but where I hesitate to agree with you that he got better is that Alone in the Dark has real actors.
That is true.
Which I think automatically you get those people in a movie, it automatically elevates it to a certain degree. And I know I'm talking about Tara here, but even she is a giant leap from where we start in this movie.
I'd rather watch her read a grocery store list than any of these people do anything.
Here's what I will say. I didn't hate the main girl, the woman.
Oh, she was okay.
She was probably the best of a really bad bunch.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see her in something else to know whether or not she was competent or just better than what we had. You know what I mean? The bar is so low in this movie. I don't know if she's fine or if she's just the least terrible. I don't know.
I looked up a couple of the hot girls, to see on Instagram to see what's going on. And, of course, I realized that they did this movie 20 years ago. So it's been
a long time ago, Dan.
That one girl's like in her 50s now, I believe. I think she said she was in her 50s.
Good for her.
And then the other one was the Asian girl that played Liberty. And, she's posted on Instagram twice. I don't know if she posted on Instagram maybe once in the last year. So it's like they don't really have to keep this big Instagram social profile based on their House of the Dead appearance. I'll
tell you what, if I was in this movie, I would post about it every year at Halloween. Every single year.
Yeah. Your boy Corbin Burnson is in some real film coming up.
Oh, no. Is he really? He left me behind in the dust, huh?
Yeah.
Good for him. You got to cut the dead weight sometimes.
But I was looking at some movie and they were like, the fifth or sixth star was like Corbin Burnson. It seemed like it was a real movie. And I was like, oh, Corbin Burnson.
Good for him, man.
Tony met that guy.
Everyone gets a second chance, right?
So House of the Dead, Sega game, zombie shooter game where I'm sure you just walk through hallways and shoot zombies.
You don't walk. To be fair, it's on rails. So the game walks for you. It's a light gun game. So it was started as an arcade game. Dan, why don't you know any of these terms? It's a gun game. So you shoot a gun. Like you personally hold a gun and shoot it. Kind of like Duck Hunt. Did you ever play Duck Hunt?
I've seen a picture of it.
For the original, all right. Listen, I don't know who I'm talking to right now, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody out there knows what I'm saying. It's a light gun shooter on rails, so you don't control anything other than a little cursor, basically. That is where your gun is aiming, and then you shoot zombies.
You just roll along the hallways. You're like
exactly, yeah. It's like imagine you are in a cart, and the cart's moving for you, and you're just shooting.
Yeah, that's good news.
Is that a good explanation? I don't know. Somebody else can. Someone in the comments explain to Dan what this means.
So it's like you're like in the Indiana Jones and you and the little kid are in the mine cart and you're like, you cursor, you're like,
or if you've ever gone to Disney and played the Buzz Lightyear game, the ride where you're in the cart and you're shooting the alien. You never done that either? Jesus,
no, I did it. I did it once. It was terrible. You were like, this.
Whoa, no, that's the only reason I go. That is the only... Yes, Dan. And then I get a picture every year of my score, and I get better and better every year.
Exactly.
But eventually I'm going to slow down because I'm getting like arthritis and shit, right? As I get older, So
House of the Dead, Sega Lightwave minecart game, but made into a movie. 2003.
Almost not at all based on the game. I want to be very clear.
Hour and 29 minutes. And you just Sega somebody gave Sega, it cost $12 million to make it. I'm assuming they gave $10 million to Sega to make the movie, and then they spent $2 million on the movie.
Yeah. And I would say $1 million of that came very early in the movie where there's an effect where a hand comes through a guy's stomach, and it looked pretty good. I was like, whoa, we're going to have some fun stuff. It's the only fun thing that happens in the entire movie.
The kills are, well, they did pay for one of those rigs, the Matrix rig. They rented one of those Matrix rigs for at least a couple of days.
They paid for it, and they were like, man, we got to use this as much as possible because we are using a lot of our budget on it.
Yeah.
There's too much. There's too much of it.
So we start with the titles, but we don't really start with the titles. We have titles, then we have voiceover in the titles, then we go back to the titles, then we have more voiceover, more characters, then we go back to more titles.
So here's the problem. Here's what I want to say. It starts with titles, but they're quick. And we get right into a voiceover. And I was like, great. That's awesome. That's good pacing for a 90-minute shitty horror movie, right? Then there's a voiceover, also very quick. It's basically 3 lines, and he's like, they're all dead. And then we left on a boat, and that's what happened. Something like that. It was very quick, and I was like, great. We're going to get right into this movie. But then they put back more credits. Why? What is happening? You can't have two separate intro credits to a movie. That doesn't make any sense. We already started the movie, and now we're going backwards to more credits, and they're twice as long as the first ones. Oh, boy. I was so excited. I thought they were doing it right.
And we do that a couple times. We don't just do it once.
It's unbelievable. It's unreal. I've never seen anything like it.
And there's a song rocking, and I was like, oh, yeah, man, it's like fake Prodigy song. And then the guy starts singing, and I'm like, this sounds like a real Prodigy song.
It's a real Prodigy.
No, it's not a real Prodigy song. It's a real fake, because I looked at the soundtrack, so there's no Prodigy.
Is it like a cover band, I wonder, that was like, just write an original, guys? I don't know.
But it was pretty close to a Prodigy song, but they did not play Prodigy.
I was bopping to it, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, it's. I really thought I was going to look at the thing and it was going to say it was actually a Prodigy song. It was not. So
it was only $12 million, Dan. Remember that. They can't afford. They can't afford real things.
So we've got this island. There's a rave going on the island. There's all these people. There's a fair amount. There's probably 30 to 40.
25 to 30 people. Yeah, this is touted in the movie as the biggest rave. It's the rave of the century, I believe, is the direct quote that they use. It's not. It's not. This is like I had people over at my house for a weekend.
Any clue what country or anything about where this occurs?
I think it's an unclaimed island.
There it is.
Is that a thing? Do those exist?
They do not. There's no such thing as an unclaimed island. So the island is going to be called Isla de la Muerte, which is Island of the Dead. So it is a Spanish name. So we have to assume maybe it's off the coast of Florida or something.
Great.
Maybe.
I love it. Yeah.
I don't know.
I like the deduction. That's good, Dan.
So then the second voiceover, we meet Greg, who's goofy, Simon, who's dumb, and we also find out is an underwear model. Cynthia, who's blonde and hot-ish, and she's Greg's girlfriend.
Wait, is that what her profile says? Does it say hot-ish?
I just wrote hot.
Or was that a Dan comment?
I was just trying to sort these people out because we know
that's fair.
We know that there's going to be not a lot of differentiation between them, and they're not going to really do things to make you know who they are.
No, which is this is the weirdest character profile sequence I think I've ever seen.
Because we've also already been told that we don't know who the name of the guy that we're meeting is, and we don't find out his name for close to an hour of the movie.
For a long time.
Like even once,
a long time.
Even once he comes into the movie, we don't hear his name. Literally, I believe one time. I did not know his name. I
knew his name at the end of the movie because the police, the FBI guys are like, "What's your name?" And then he says it, Rudolph Giovanni. I don't remember it, to be honest. It's Rudy is his name, but he says his full name as if it was supposed to mean something to me. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. I don't know.
They say the Rudy name a lot of times in the last third of the movie. Yeah, they do.
Is that important? Am I forgetting that the video games are based on a guy named Rudy? I don't know. I don't know why this matters.
Karma, who's the African-American girl who has a crush on Simon for an unknowable reason.
There was they set up a weird triangle somewhere that never. Once we started meeting the people, it didn't happen. I don't know. I was very confused.
And in an amazing plot setup, we meet Alicia, who's sort of the female protagonist, sort of,
yeah.
And what do they say her trait is?
Oh no, I don't know. I don't remember.
She's a fencer.
Oh, Dan. Honestly, if I had remembered that, the end of the movie would make so much more sense.
Yes, it would.
Kudos to them. Kudos to them to actually explaining the third act final fight. Because when it got there and I did not remember them saying that, I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yes.
Oh, I feel so stupid. Uwe Boll. He pulled one over, a fast one.
We go back, see the rave some more. Sega has sponsored it. And
there's a nice banner on the stage. It just says Sega. Good for them. Good for them. Don't try to be coy. Just let us know who's sponsoring the film. Good for you.
We also have a girl set up that there's a bad reception on the island, so you're not going to be able to make any phone calls. There it is.
Unless it really matters, because somehow police come at the end. I'm confused. Sorry.
Don't go there. Well, actually, there is an explanation line as to why people show up at the end.
Okay, all right.
I will point out that specific line. I mean,
thank you.
Is it a terrible script? Yes, it's a terrible script. But do they actually do some of the basics of moving the thing forward? Sure. Yes, they do. They do set up things, and they do pay them off-ish.
They can't write dialogue, but that's okay.
No.
It's hard.
So now we set up so that the 5 of them are there, and they're supposed to get on a boat to go out to the island to go to the biggest rave ever. They are 15 minutes late, and so then they have to go to try to find a boat. And
hold on, Dan. Hold on. You're missing my first big laugh of the movie.
Oh, God.
So they're standing on the dock, all right, and they're looking around, and they're like, the boat's supposed to leave at 5, and they're like, it's 5:15, and the guy goes, oh, we're so fucked. And then, because audiences are so dumb, another voiceover kicks in, and it goes, they missed the boat. What? Why do I need that explanation? I just saw it. I just saw them miss the boat, and now you're going to tell me that they missed the boat? I was rolling. I'm rolling, Dan. This movie's great.
Oh, Jesus. So we go over to this one boat, and there we meet Clint Howard, who plays Salish, dressed as the Morton's fisherman. Do you know who Clint Howard is?
I mean, when you say his name, if I hadn't seen the movie, no. But seeing the movie, I'm like, I know this guy. I've seen this guy all over the place.
What do you know about him?
I have no idea. I just know that I've seen him. And then when he started talking, I was like, uh-oh. How did he get any other work?
And I said his name. What was his name?
Clint Habish.
Clint Howard.
Oh!
And who?
Howard's a normal name. I really messed that up.
Who's he related to?
Ron Howard.
Yeah, it's Ron Howard's brother. That
was just a guess. Would you say brother?
It's his brother, yeah.
No. Dan, sometimes you look at a family and you look at one guy and then you look at a sibling and you're like, oh, that's got to be a tough life. Unbelievable. One person gets all the looks, not that Ron Howard's like a beautiful person, but he looks like a person, right? He looks like a human.
Like a person. Clint, not so much looking like a person.
And he's got a lot of talent. I mean, it would be tough to grow up in that household. That's all I want to say about it. Good for him.
If you should, there's an original episode of Star Trek that Clint starred in, which
all right,
it's worth looking at his little role he plays in there as a kid. He was not an attractive child.
So things just never changed. Got it.
No,
Got it.
It never came together for Clint.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, listen, solid work all throughout his life because I recognize his face. I know him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's getting paid. They get on the boat. We meet the captain. The captain's name is Captain Kirk. We do some Star Trek jokes, which is kind of interesting because Clint Howard, having been in Star Trek, this guy's Captain Kirk.
Now you say that, I love it. That's full circle.
Connections.
And I feel like I know the captain as well.
I have the feeling he's like a B movie kind of guy. I didn't look him up.
Yeah. I should
look
him up.
They're like, we'll give you $300. We'll give you $600. And he's like, no, bad mojo on that place. And then they're like, oh, well,
give you 1,000.
They end up saying, we'll give you 1,500 when we leave, 500 when we get there. And then here come the Coast Guard people in their car, like, stop. And the captain's like, oh, too late. I've already left.
Now, if you're the Coast Guard,
yeah,
and you're trying to stop somebody from leaving port,
yeah,
would you do it from land?
Well, just a question. You might start from land. It's possible.
You might start from land, but you wouldn't let him drive off on a very slow steamboat and just let him go as you're yelling at him, hey, stop. Don't go any further. She says the line at one point, by the way, is, did you forget what day it is? I don't know what that means, but I loved it. I don't know what day it is, but it's an important day, and he might have forgotten what day it is.
So they sail off, and he's like, ha ha, little did you know I would have done this for free.
Which doesn't make sense because he said no, right? He said no a bunch of times.
He said no, but he has to flee because he has ill-gotten gain. He has illegal stuff on the
booty.
We find
he's got ill-gotten booty.
So actually, it makes a little bit of sense what he said. You're like, okay,
I guess so. Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying.
So they they head off, and then the person in the Coast Guard person whose name is Casper, she gets in another boat, and then they pursue, but they don't pursue. They're like, hang back.
They're back a ways, too. Enough that they don't know they're it's like a car chase where you like stay 3 blocks back, but it's a boat, so you can see for miles. And it feels a little weird. I do believe they say, stay back, let's so they can't see us. Yeah, see where they're going. Yeah, I don't know. Which is not what the Coast Guard would do. They would just come up there, board the boat, and then find whatever illegal stuff it is. That's what the Coast Guard is supposed to do. That's a good move. We also see the Coast Guard boat a couple of times, and we hear talking. We don't meet the people, and I don't think we actually even say their names. So once again, they didn't want to shoot on the other boat, but they did rent the other boat. Mm-hmm. At the end of the movie, they have a helicopter which picks up the guys. I have the feeling they also use that to shoot all the boat stuff. They rented the helicopter for a day. They probably had a helicopter for a day, yeah. And that's why they get rescued with a helicopter at the end. They're like, we just have you rescued with the helicopter and not have to deal with another boat. They're on the helicopter. They're shooting one of the boat scenes. Uwe looks over to his friend. He's like, I know how the movie ends. And boom, got it. I think so. Oh, I love it. So that's that. That's that. That's how they get there. We set up this other couple who want to go swimming. The woman gets naked. It's cold. The dude won't go in because it's cold. She goes in and she kind of get attacked by Bubbles. Okay, I was afraid you were going to say a zombie for a second, attacked by it. But yeah, Bubbles, not really an attack. They just show up, and she's like, "Well, that's weird." So, a lot of they had an underwater camera for this, and there's a lot of unnecessary shots of her topless underwater. Yeah. So if you're into that, check out the first 15 minutes of the film. Yeah, you get her topless, and we get another girl topless, I think. You get the blonde lady in the main group, and we'll talk about it because it's really weird. Yeah, so really weird. They tease us with a little nudity at the beginning, but then they go away from that completely, and they never go there again. It's to hook you into the movie, Dan. You're like, well, now I can't leave. What if more boobies show up? So I get it. And then she gets out, and Matt is gone. Her paramour, which is a great twist because you think it's going to be her that gets attacked, Dan, but nope, her boyfriend's gone. Although his one shoe is left on the beach. I love it. Inside the boat as they're going, Greg barfs on Cynthia. Oh, and then Cynthia takes her top off to clean her top. Yes, and Clint comes in to give her a cross. I'm going to try to keep this moving. I apologize. There's so much to talk about with this movie because it's such a work of art. He's seasick, right? He's sitting on the edge of the boat. He's sitting on the edge of the boat, looking in, talking to his friends, and his friend is like, "Oh, you want a beer? That'll make you feel better." And he's gonna throw up. Instead of just turning to his side 13 degrees to puke over the edge of the boat, he stands up, walks towards his girl, and vomits all over her face. That's an A+ for me. That's great stuff. See, great character motivation. And then we get to see her topless while she cleans her clothes. Which gets weird. I mean, one, it's weird, full stop, right? Unnecessary. It's very forced the way you said it. It's a whole thing for me. But what's weirder is your guy, not Ron Howard, shows up and like talks to her, and she just turns around and just having a conversation topless as if she's not topless on the boat with a complete stranger. It's weird. I mean, good for her for being comfortable with her body. It's a weird scene to watch. Mm-hmm. Very weird. I don't know. Boom. Then we go back to the island. The girl who lost her boyfriend on the beach finds a graveyard, and there's this house, which we all assume is the House of the Dead. Looks tiny in this shot. It looks like a shack. It looks like a little shack. Yeah. Now, later on, we see it
again, from a distance, it looked bigger, but we also have like a weird overhead shot where it looks pretty big.
It looks like a decent sized multi-room, you know.
Now, was that a model, or was the house actually sitting on this place big?
I don't think that it's actually big.
Okay.
I don't. I think what we see here is what it actually looks like, and then the rest of it they're trying to cheat it.
Okay, good.
That's my opinion. I don't really know.
That was my feeling. So she just like, better look inside this house. She looks inside there. He's dead, and they have glowing red eyes. One of them has glowing red eyes. It's the only time I think that happens. And then
the rest of them don't. It's fine.
She gets killed by a zombie, and then we have the first of these intercuts with the zombie video game. And you never know when they're coming. They're never there for a reason. And sometimes
they're not triggered. They're not triggered by anything. Sometimes he uses them as transitions between scenes. For instead of like the Star Wars crossfade, it's like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to throw some video game in for a half a second, scare some people, and bring you right back. It's the weirdest device I've ever seen in my life. This is it. Listen, people, if you're making a video game movie, don't do this. Don't do this. This is bad. This is wrong on all fronts.
Now we go to another couple getting frisky, and they get attacked.
Is this in the tent?
Yeah.
So everybody else leaves at this point, right? Are they at the island already?
No, they're not the island yet.
Oh, so this is when
the
main group gets attacked.
No, there's a second couple that is
in the woods.
Well, no, I think they're in a tent at the rave.
Oh boy,
I don't remember this. About to get it on, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have some more, some more nudity," and then something sort of happens, and then we just cut away.
And then we cut away
before anything happens.
That's why I don't remember it.
And we don't know anything about the scene, and we never see these characters again,
right.
And it doesn't matter.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. You're right. I'm sorry. I got confused.
This is a movie Tony enjoyed.
Listen? Do I not sound like I'm enjoying it? Please. This movie's great.
The boat. Now their boat arrives. They get off the boat. There's a little not a dinghy, but an inflatable gray boat that you can go back and forth. And then they have to. Then they're going to unload some stuff. The captain and Salish are going to unload some stuff. So you're like, okay, something's going on with that. So then our crew starts walking to the interior. They go past Fart Pond, which is a bubbling pond that smells like farts. And they say farts a number of times.
Yeah, why? Why is this in the movie? It doesn't come back later, does it?
Yeah. It does. Yeah, they traverse it again. There's a little wooden walk bridge over the.
But does the fact that it is bubbling and smells like fart come into play later? Okay, that's why I didn't realize they were probably in the same spot.
Yeah. Somebody says storm's coming. So we go back to the beach, the storm's coming, and there's a number of boxes that they're unloading from the boat, which are some some illegal stuff that they're going to try to hide from the Coast Guard. And they're just going to hide it in the woods. And it's going to take them hours.
It's going to take them a whole day, probably. Easy. But I love, he does this. He sucks his finger and puts it in the wind. He's like, a storm's coming. I mean, that's great stuff.
I mean, and sometimes there'll be attention to details. At one point, Clint goes to one of the lockers on the boat, opens it up, picks up a tray that has fish on it, moves that to the side, and then the hidden boxes underneath there. So they took the time to find places to hide boxes properly.
Yeah,
you're just like, okay.
The things that they tried to do, the things that they just kind of were like, nah, let's not worry about it. It's weird. It's a weird. It's a weird mish.
A weird mish.
Did I say mix? Everyone knows I meant mix. No, it's mish. It's a mishmash. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, you were mish, but then you
hear me making excuses all over here.
They get to the rave. It's blown out. Nobody's there. It's all sort of tipped over, but there's beer, so they start beering it.
Well, hold on. As they're walking into it, I don't remember which lady it was. One of the ladies bends over, picks up a shirt covered in blood,
really?
and says, I think something terrible happened here. And then one guy goes, ooh, and then they go drink. And then they go to the drink and they're like, oh, let's beer it up. It's weird. It's bad. Lack of awareness here, people.
Yeah. Let's see. So then they decide to split up. The one team is going, I don't even remember where they're going. They say, we're going to go somewhere. And the other two are like, we're going to stay here.
Back to the ship to get the captain, I think. And then the other two were going to stay and make out.
Yeah. Clint on the shore gets killed, I think. We don't really see.
I don't know. Yeah.
And, this is a movie that does not take its time. You've shown us the zombies, so you may as well show us people getting killed in slightly interesting ways. But we don't. We don't.
And that's, if I had one complaint about the movie, Dan, it's the lack of cool kills. Because that's what makes a horror movie fun, right? Mm-hmm. Inventive, gory. I don't care which direction you go, but you have to show me the kills and they have to be fun. But this movie doesn't want to do that at all.
Let's see. Greg and Cynthia start getting frisky in the tent, but then Greg immediately goes, oh, I gotta go piss. And then
fooling around, he's just like, oh, I gotta pee in the tent. Starts taking off his pants in the tent, and she's like, go pee outside.
Oh, does he really?
It's so weird. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. I feel like there was no script for this scene, and they were just like, at one point, you just have to go outside and go pee. That's where you need to get to in this scene, and action.
Very weird.
It's bizarre.
So Simon, Alicia, and Karma are walking through the woods to wherever they're going, and Simon starts doing a British accent, and then they call him out for doing the weird British accent for no reason.
Yep. Yeah. Great character development here, don't you think? It's so bizarre.
We set up the captain back on the ship. He goes and gets his gun. So he's got a gun. He also has a cigar, which he takes his time, I believe, lighting at this point. And I mean,
he must have a lot of cigars, right?
Well, we find that out later, yes.
Oh, okay. I must have missed when they revealed that. I just noticed he always has a cigar that's half smoked.
No,
there's no way it's not the same one.
Full cigar. He pulls out a full cigar and starts it up.
So in the beginning, it's full cigar. Okay.
Yeah, full cigar.
I should have been paying more attention to the cigars.
I've got my cigar continuity down pretty good for the movie.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Cynthia then in the tent sort of gets attacked by shadows that are outside the tent. We're like,
it's
she's
just kind of like trick of the light, Yeah. It's fine.
We go back to the three. Alicia goes towards the house. Okay, so they've reached the graveyard and the house. They're like, let's go inside the house for unknowable reasons.
Yeah, I don't know why people keep doing that.
There in the woods, we see there's a weird priest character with a kind of cut-up face that's not a zombie, that has some sort of ability to do things. We're like, oh, here's a character.
Here's a character that you're not really going to learn much about until the last 5 minutes.
No, we learn about him. We cut some stuff.
Did you know that it's, maybe we'll wait till we get to the flashback. I didn't put it together.
Oh, he looks the same. He's the same actor.
Oh, well, of course it's the same actor, but one of them looks like him and one of them's got cut up flesh. I couldn't put the puzzle together.
It's the same actor, though. I can't see anything. You should have known that. You should have been like, his face is the same.
Though. It's the same actor. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
well, I didn't, Dan.
Actors have specific faces.
Typically. Oh, you should tell that to AI, Dan. All right? Because it's taken over.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so boom. Priest in the woods. Alicia opens the door. Hello? Boom. There's 3 people in here. A dude, which it turns out to be Rudy, who's their friend.
Right.
A video dude, who is a creepy guy that was shooting a woman's breasts.
Yeah, we missed that. That's another great laugh. I'll explain the scene. Who's the third person? I don't remember. Who's the third person?
And then that's Liberty, who's the Asian girl who's wearing like a red, white, and blue jumpsuit.
Jumper, yeah, which is great. Yeah. Okay, time out. We're going to have a flashback sequence just like the movie does here. Back to the beginning when we're at the rave. We see Rudy and the camera guy. We don't meet them, but we see them. Rudy's talking to a young woman, and the other guy's holding a camera just directly at her bosoms. And I mean, like, in a creepy, leery, like, straight there, doesn't move it. His face is just locked on.
I have the feeling we see that video later, and we see some naked boobs. We do. I don't even remember.
There's all sorts of half-naked ladies in the video because they're showing what happened. It's almost now.
Oh yeah,
I think it's now, Dan.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, "What happened? What happened?" They're like, "I'll tell you what happened. Watch my video." And then it's just boobies, 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 and they're like, "And then we were attacked." You didn't need to show me the video then.
Oh wait,
you could have just told us you were attacked.
Oh. Does he do that right now? Oh, yeah, you're right. So he shows them the video of the attack. There's dead people, and then the one guy's like, this is just like the classic Romero Dawn of the Dead trilogy, and wish he'd make his fourth movie, please.
And then one of the girls goes, what? It's a what? You don't know who George Romero... Come on.
So then they're all ridiculous. Like, well, we can't leave the island. We got to go find Greg and Cynthia because they're our friends. And they're like, okay, let's go do that.
And Dan, what decision are you making? Are you leaving or are you going back for your friends?
It depends on which friends.
Oh, my God. You're a callous man, Dan Goodsell.
I mean, yeah, of course. Depends on who they are.
Okay, it's me. I'm back at the tent. I'm getting frisky. Are you coming to save me or not? Tell me, Dan.
You're getting frisky? No, you're supposed to die.
You son of a bitch.
I know the rules. I'm not going back for
know the rules.
Somebody getting frisky, they're going to die.
Well, that's true. You can't have sex. Scream taught us. It's fine.
We're back to the captain's boat. We see there's swimming zombies. And I'm like, that's pretty cool, swimming zombies. I like that.
Oh, we had different opinions on that. That was not okay with me.
Why?
But because zombies don't swim, okay? They don't. What? They don't swim. He's like swimming like a human. No. He doesn't have the body function, the brain function.
Wait, hold on. All
right, what?
Hold on. Can zombies walk?
Barely. Have you seen them? They shamble at best.
Can they climb? Can they climb? Can they bust through doors?
Yes, they can bust through doors. So because they're just throwing their body at it.
No, they're not. They go through like this. They reach through.
That's true. It's especially in those Romero movies.
So if I'm a zombie and I'm trying to get to something, I'm going like this. Well, look, instantaneously, I'm beginning to swim.
I didn't like it, Dan. I'm glad you found something you loved in this movie. Dan loves swimming zombies. Loves them.
I think it's nice. Not terrible. There was some movie way back when where the zombies came out of the ocean. Is it a Stephen King movie? Ooh. Something of the deep. Something of the deep. I'll have to look that up. Ooh.
Yeah, look it up.
Never saw the movie.
Do they swim or do they walk on the bottom of the ocean and then just come out?
I never saw the movie.
Okay. You never even saw the movie you're referencing. No. All right.
I didn't watch. I didn't and still don't. I mean, I watch more horror movies now than I ever did in my life. But I couldn't. I went and saw the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and I was like, "What?
Great movie.
What the fuck is this?"
I love that movie. That's great stuff.
Terrible. We're gonna put.
What are you talking? Season of the Witch is great.
Put these programs into these masks, and then kids are gonna wear them, and they're gonna die. It's like. That is not a business model.
That's your problem. It's not a business model.
Even as a kid, I knew that. I was like, how does this work?
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, so boom, 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 swimming zombies. So we're like, okay, he's not safe on that boat. The kids go back to they get back to the rave. They find Greg in a porta potty. He's covered in shit. And they're like, oh, you're covered in shit. And then, boom, here comes the Cynthia zombie. And boom, here comes Coast Guard Casper. She comes out there and shoots it. You're like, boom, shoots Cynthia in the head. Pow.
Yeah, big time, big time.
We could have spent a little bit of time. Oh, wait. But while that's happening, Cynthia kills the random video dude before we learn his name.
Oh, yeah. Which I'm fine with, by the way.
Yeah, it's good. Good riddance.
He needed to die.
So, Tony, now you're going to talk about why everyone's dialogue sounds like they're in an echo chamber, like that's 100 miles wide.
Well, it's hard to know exactly why, but I'm assuming one of two things. We're either in a stage, a studio, shooting these things, which to me seems improbable, or a lot of the dialogue might be done afterwards. Or we have no mics on the people and we're just booming a room. There's a lot of options for bad audio.
It seemed like they ADR'd everybody, but
I mean, that's very possible.
The flip side of all that is that the actors did a really good job of the ADR, I thought.
Sure. Yeah. If that's the route that we went, I think they did a commendable job. I've done myself some ADR and I never feel like it feels right.
Really? Okay.
You always hear it and you're like, you did that wrong, guy.
Tony's doing it wrong.
This is why I don't work, Dan. I'm not good at it.
Okay. The swimming zombies attack the boat, and Captain Kirk's just like, smoking.
Again, smoking that cigar. He really milks it through the movie.
He just takes his time and just kills all the zombies that attacked. And then we cut away.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing fine. He's doing A-okay, this guy.
It's pretty good. Boom, boom, boom. Now they're going back. Alicia loses it over Cynthia. You know, she's sad. They get to the fart pond.
But here's the thing, Dan. She's the only one that's sad. Her boyfriend doesn't even seem to care. Like, this woman shot their friend in the head in front of them all. Nobody reacts. And then a scene later, someone finally is like, oh, wait, is she dead? Oh, my God. It's very weird.
You know, yeah. Boom, they're walking across the bridge. Here come the zombies cracking through the bridge and attacking. Attack, crack. And
attack, crack.
Let's see, what happens is one of them puts their hand down on a nail on the bridge, which when he pulls it back off, that was about probably the not scariest, but the most visceral reaction I had to anything in this movie.
Yeah, totally understandable. Yeah,
nails literally the most frightening thing in most horror movies.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, the stupidest stupid movie of stupidness, the Quiet Place. Oh, such a stupid movie.
Oh, I mean, first of all, that movie's great and you have terrible taste, but that scene is intense.
The best scene in the whole movie by factor 10.
And then that Home Alone, terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
I don't think I could watch Home Alone now because of the abuse
it's too
that
much.
Kid puts on those. I mean, it's like
he lays down the pain.
It's like cinder block on rope to face. You know, it's like, does that have to be a cinder block? Can it be like a couple of big stuffed animals or something? You know,
sure, fluffy.
He throws those people downstairs into a basement like multiple times.
He killed them. He murdered those men a lot. In fact, most of the movie's probably just in his imagination trying to cope with the fact that he murdered 2 people.
Yeah, it's a little much. Okay, I got to talk, Tony. I got to clear my throat.
Okay, let me clear my throat. Oh! Did you see that was pretty good, Dan? Oh, now he's drinking water. I'll drink some water, too. Is this what you wanted when you wanted me to fill time?
No, Tony. You're supposed to goddamn fill the time with something useful. Shannon thinks maybe I have like a node on my throat, and that's what caused me to get phlegm.
Does she think that that's the same reason that I do it, too? Because I do it, too. I mute all the time. Just cleared my throat right there. You don't even know. I got a mute button.
I know. I've used it a couple of times.
Used it a couple of times.
So, of course, at some point, someone just says, run! And then they play music, and everybody like, runs! Okay, they get to the beach. We look out there. The zombies have overtaken the boat. So we're like, oh, Captain Kirk, something else happened. Then, okay, see, I didn't realize this, but now it makes sense. Simon runs across this pier and jumps in and
dives into the water.
Starts to swim for it. Casper, the Coast Guard lady, she's got an assault rifle and a pistol. So she switches up. Maybe she uses a pistol a couple times, and she switches up to assault rifle.
Yeah.
And then Liberty jumps in the water with a knife for no reason.
Yep.
And then things occur, and then at a certain point, the captain has an assault rifle, and he's firing.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, what? How does he have an assault rifle? How's he on land? What is going on? And then by the end, the captain has gotten bit, and I'm like, oh shit, he's going to turn into a zombie. That never occurs.
That never happens. Yeah, don't worry about it.
They get Simon out of the water, and then one of the zombies barfs acid in his face. And at one point, we see this wound on his face that was really nice. And then the rest of the time, he's either holding something on there, or they put this really weird red bandage on his face.
It's just felt.
Oh, is it?
I'm telling you right now, it's just a piece of felt, and they tape it with regular tape. Like Scotch tape is how it's attached to his face. First of all, that's not going to stay. I don't know if you've ever do you ever do like scary faces with Scotch tape? No. It never stays. Like you get a good 10, 15 seconds and it just slowly peels off because the oils on your skin don't allow it to attach to you. Everybody knows that.
Okay.
No? Well,
I don't.
Now you do, Dan.
Why would I put tape
Scotch tape, not a great way to tape it to your body. That's all I'm saying.
Why I would use spirit gum?
Well, then it stays.
Yeah. Isn't that what you're trying to do?
You need like special remover. No, I mean you just make scary faces for a little bit of time. Or are you talking about for his face? Are you talking about scary faces with your friends? Or are you talking about the guy in the movie?
I just like that I made a spirit gum joke. It's very funny.
Spirit gum's good. Spirit gum hurts if you spirit gum like a mustache and you don't use remover. That shit yourself, hurts, right? Man. I bet that hurts.
Very, very painful. Okay, so that's where we're at. Simon's face is hurt, and Captain got bit. Okay, that's not the worst from all of this. Nobody died. Liberty, who went in the water, sure. I was like, she's gone and killed herself. But no, she gets back up.
She's fine.
Good for her.
She was fine. Nothing happened to her.
So they killed a bunch of zombies, and then the lady cop's like, I'm going to go to my boat, which is somewhere else. And then something?
Well, she says she brings one of the guys with her.
Yeah, but why is she going to her boat? Why doesn't everybody just go to her boat?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they say a bunch of rapid words, and so then she's like, "Greg's coming with me." Greg's kind of like, "Wait, what?"
Oh, okay.
So then she gives him a gun, and then they go, and we're like, "Okay, they've left. We've split up again because if you have a movie, you may as well try to split them up as many times as possible."
Well, because you need an A and a B. You can't just stick with one group the whole time. It's so boring.
So then the others that are left there have a little bit of time to postulate on what happened and how these zombies came to occur. Do you remember any of the reasons, Tony?
I don't necessarily remember any of the reasons, but I remember somebody saying there's got to be a scientific explanation for all this.
Yep.
That's all I remember, and it made me laugh.
And they say, maybe it's the ozone.
The ozone. That's really what we said. What year was this? 2003?
2003.
I feel like we can do better than that in 03.
But then the captain tells the story of how it occurred.
Which makes less sense than ozone. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Who knows?
Because he doesn't know the whole story, Dan. The story that he tells doesn't create zombies at all. It's just a guy on a boat, and then they killed people or something like that.
There's a prisoner on the boat who's a bad guy who
he's a bad man.
Did experiments against God.
Right? Because that's what is this guy a cardinal? The fat guy? What is he?
The captain of the boat? He just kills.
Oh, he's the captain? Yeah, I thought he was, because he's like a man of God or whatever. So I thought maybe he was like a...
No,
okay.
Well, everyone's a man. Everyone believed in God back then. But he did experiments against God, so they put him on a boat. Because that's what you do. He kills the captain, and we assume he captures the boat and takes the boat to the island.
Of the movie, though.
Yeah?
You're going to leave this the best line in the movie.
Oh, I wrote down very few lines from this movie because I found none of them funny or interesting, like you.
Well, this one was almost good. They surrounded it by lines that ruin it. However,
exactly.
The captain says something about you've done it against God. And the bad guy goes, God, there is no God. There's only me. But then he says, what did God ever do for you? He didn't do anything for me. Something like that. And I was like, well, those are different things, guy. Either you're God or God has abandoned you, but you got to pick one. They both can't be true, guy. So they ruined their own line. But I was like, that's a nice line. There is no God. There's only me. I like that. That's a great line for a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a few jokes in here that if you looked at them as jokes, you'd be like, that's a joke. But
if you take them independently of the movie.
They do all this other stuff. Then they're like, the joke, and then they'll start talking again, and like, we just ruined whatever goodwill we've made by one line. They ruin it by 20 more lines that you're just like, I do not want to have just going into my brain.
Dig in that hole, baby.
So this is the best part. So Greg and the cop lady, here come the zombies, and what does she do? She's like, Greg, run! So Greg runs away, and she stays behind shooting at them, sort of.
Yeah.
So she's.
And then what happens to Greg?
Greg runs away. He fights. Then he hides, and then he gets out of his hiding place. And then what does he do to be caught?
Steps on a twig. Is that what happens?
Steps on a twig. Yeah. The classic
in the woods.
Twig! Oh, I didn't see that coming. And the zombies are all like,
was so close.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost as if they just turned around and were like, we walked right by him. Oh, boy.
They did walk right by him. They did walk right by him.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
So
great stuff.
They get Greg. They devour him. So we're like, well, there goes Greg. Don't miss him. Yeah. He smells like shit. So our team is like, okay, let's go back to the house because that's where we can guard. The lady cop then comes back. So somehow they've gone there. Then she comes back, and then she's all like, got to my boat. My boat was destroyed. And you're like, wait, what?
Yep.
We never saw that.
She was so fast, by the way, because they have barely gone anywhere. The other group has moved maybe 30 feet, and she's gone and come back, lost a guy. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and then the captain's like, well, I got something to show you. And he goes over there, opens one of the hit trunks that they took off the thing. There's all the cigars, and then underneath the cigars, guns. They divvy up the guns. And through the rest of the movie, everyone is an expert marksman, gun handler, hand-to-hand weapon handler, and kung fu artist.
So that's Liberty, right? Liberty at one point.
A lot of people use kung fu.
We'll talk.
A lot of people use
specifically. There's a scene that we need to talk about. We'll get there. Yeah, they all become just Marine level weapons experts. It's incredible.
We don't even get a line like, "Oh, that paintball's gonna come in handy." "Oh, your dad owning that firing range sure is gonna come in handy." All of us having been through the. Been in Israel got our 3 years of training in the military is going to come in handy.
Great.
Everybody's
it's almost as if the weapon has the power in it itself. So as soon as you touch it, you're like, oh shit, I know how to use it.
Just a little bit. So they all weapon up. They got flares, they got grenades, they got miniguns.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful.
They get to the graveyard, and then boom, we have the fight outside the house. And this fight goes on for
too long.
10, 15 minutes.
It feels like the third act fight, but we haven't had a second act yet. You know what I mean? So I was confused on why this fight was so big. It felt like, well, this is it. This is our last stand, but it's not.
No. We have kung fu. We have matrix shots. We have boop, boop, boop. Simon constantly running. Run. Run. I mean, this, and just, there's so many zombies and so many of them get killed.
Yeah. And but it's not fun. No. It's not like fun killing. It's just boom, dead, boom, dead, boom, dead, boom, dead. I would rather it be a shorter fight, but more dramatic. I want something. The action should have something to it.
And there's nothing to the action. It's just shooting, shooting, kicking, shooting, occasional axe. It's
well, at one point, a lady jumps, right? A zombie throws an axe, and she theoretically jumps almost into it. I don't know why she jumped, but then she shoots him, and then the axe just misses her. And I was like, what was the point of any of that sequence that lasted almost a full minute? Nothing.
It's really weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Liberty then gets eaten. She gets overrun by zombies and eaten. And Rudy loses his mind over her getting eaten because he'd met her at the rave, which doesn't make any sense. He's known her for a few hours.
Yeah, but he was best friends with her, so.
So Rudy then goes and saves the lady cop, and then they say, we need more ammo, and then the two of them are like...
Oh, is this the weird edit? When she dies, is this the weird edit where it like goes to Rudy's eyes and then he flashes back throughout the whole movie?
Almost. Yeah, we're almost there.
Right.
I wrote that down.
I think it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I think I wrote that down.
You should have written it down because it's not a normal device used in a film.
Yeah, at some point, maybe it was just at the end of the thing. The whole thing goes crazy, and it's just like intercut, and you're just like,
it's trippy.
So then,
and I don't know why it didn't make any sense.
So Rudy and Lady Cop decide that they have to find a way into the house because the door is locked. They go around the side, they pull up a window. He goes through, then she goes through. Then the zombies eat her legs. Then he pulls her through, sets her on the ground, and then he pushes a board up there, and then that stops them because he's pushed a board into the window and not secured it in any way.
Yeah, there's no nails in it. There's no spirit gum holding it. That's a callback, Dan. It's just sitting there.
Tita whipped out the super glue and was like, whoosh. I just gotta hold this for 3 seconds until the glue sets.
Watching his clock. Okay, I think it's stuck. No.
So then
nothing. Just sitting there. The zombies see it and they're like, "Oh, he must have secured it. We'll go somewhere else."
And she's dying, and he's like, "Look at me, you saved us." And she's all like, and he puts a blanket over her because she's dead.
And did she save him? Because they're still mid zombie fight. I'm just pointing it out there. To say that she saved them feels ambitious.
So the captain, he's like, "Oh, I'll hold the steps," and then then Simon, Karma, Alicia, and Rudy get inside. And then I want to talk about acting at this point.
Oh my God! This is my favorite topic. Talk to me, Dan.
This is how they do acting.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm acting. Oh my God! Oh what? They pant. It's that panting acting. Talk about panting acting.
It conveys emotion and that you're tired. Boom. That's a classic acting trope right there. Nailed. You got 2 emotions. Done. Easy peasy. I don't know. You know what they probably didn't do and they should have done is you do a bunch of push-ups before a take. And that way you're actually tired, but you're not doing the because nobody really does that. Especially if you're kind of hiding, you don't want to breathe that loudly.
We do this.
What is this?
Put your hands up. Put your hands up.
Put my hands up?
Yeah, because you can't be sad with your hands up.
Wait, that can't be true.
It's true.
Look at me. I'm sad right now.
You're acting like you're sad. Look at you. You're laughing.
Damn it. Indicating, motherfucker.
Solves every problem. Just put your hands up.
There you go. Just put your hands in the
That's
air.
That's why it doesn't
just
work
don't care.
In like a hostage situation because everyone's happy if you have the hands up.
I'm all tied up right now. I'm having the time of my life. Oh, this is great.
It's funny. There was this comic that I read when I was a kid called Plop, right? And it was all filled with like jokes and stuff.
Not right.
It's called Plop. P-L-O-P, Plop.
Plop.
And there were all these jokes, and it would be like the guys in medieval prison, and they'd be like hung up in the prison, like from the walls, and then they'd be saying funny things to each other. But it's just like such a classic.
Jesus.
Hey, it's kind of like being on the deserted island. Hey, how are you doing?
Sure.
I'm doing fine. I'm 2 inches taller, whatever the jokes are.
I'm just hanging in there. Oh,
there it is, hanging in there.
Nailed it.
Okay, so we're down to 4 people. Acting, panting. Karma's like, "Are we going to get out of here?" And then Simon's like, "Oh, I'm so ugly now," and then Karma's like, "No, man,
because his face is burned.
You have character now," or she says something, and then she's all like, "I'm
Something
only in
weird.
I'm in it for your buns because you're an underwear model." It doesn't say that. That would have been funny. And then that
would have been a good line.
They have time to do a little makeout, so they do a little makeout, and then the Rudy's like, "It's quiet. It's too quiet," and it got quiet because the zombies gave up for a noble reason. Actually, there's kind of a noble reason now that I think about it.
Because they're tired?
No, because they want some of them alive, and we'll find out why that is in a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
Rudy's like, "It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault." And then Alicia's like, "No, you're going to get kissed by me because I'm pretty hot." Oh, no, they drag Kirk in with them. He wasn't dead. The captain, they lay him out on the table.
They drag him in. Yeah. Captain Kirk's on the table smoking his cigar still.
And they had pretty good kisses. I wrote so passionate. So it's a decent kiss.
Yeah, I know. It's totally fine. Totally passable.
So then they're like, "Oh, we got to solve the problem." And we're like, "You got to solve the problem. You got to survive." But they're like, "No, we solved the problem.
Get out.
We got this book here." And then they're looking at the book and they're like, "Oh, it's a ship's log. Maybe it'll tell us something." Then they go in. They're like, "We better search the house." So they search the house. There's a mad scientist lab. There's dead zombies. They look in the microscope. There's some blood in there. And the blood's like, boom, 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 boom.
Dan.
Yeah.
Tell me this doesn't look just like a haunted house set. Just so cheap. Everything looks so cheap to me in this room. I was just like, this is bad. Bad set design. And it's overlit. So everything's very bright and you can see everything really well, which is a mistake. If you have cheap shit, dim the light so I can barely see it. I don't want to make out all your cheap Target bullshit.
That is about the best comment you could make for this movie. It's overlit. Because you're just like, this is not a place. They're on a soundstage. This is like so fake. No. So dopey.
It's not great. Not great.
Captain Kirk hears Salish outside, so he's like, "Salish." He goes outside. There's Salish. He's a zombie.
You just missed my second biggest laugh of the movie.
Oh, okay.
He hears Salish. Remember, he's got a wound on his leg, okay? He's been bit on one leg. So he tries to get off the table that he's laying on to go see Salish. He falls over. The guy's got one good leg still. Why is he falling over? So then he pulls himself across the floor for a while.
Really?
And then he's like, "Oh, shit, wait, I got a leg." So then he stands up and then he just limps to the door. What's happening? That's a crazy turnaround here. This guy can't even put any weight on his legs, falls over, pulls himself across the floor, and then he walks out of scene. It's nuts.
So he has one piece of dynamite, so he blows up a lot of them. So it's like, okay.
In a lot of them, but also half the house. In his last act as a human, he puts all of his friends in jeopardy. That's what he did. He's like, "You know what? If I'm going out, you're all going down with me." Blows up the house. The zombies invade. Unbelievable.
No, the zombies didn't invade yet. They're thinking.
They start coming in. They start shooting, and those guys run down the trap door.
Yeah, well, there's gunpowder. So then there's casks of gunpowder.
Sure.
So they're like, okay, so someone would have to be here. No, they don't start coming in yet because they then go into the other laboratory where there's this red tank and this little spooky face.
Your timing's mixed up. The guy hasn't blown up the house yet then.
Yeah,
because they have to go down into the room and then they're in the tunnel.
The captain used dynamite to kill a bunch of zombies outdoors. Then they blow up the house afterwards.
No, they blow up the whole house. The captain blew up the door and the window, so the zombies start coming in, and then they have to lock themselves in the laboratory. Then there's a bowl of red ooze or whatever, and there's a monster in it.
There's an aquarium.
You can say what happens.
There's an aquarium with red, and then the little monster goes boo, and we never see that monster again. It's very disappointing.
But as soon as that happens, one of the ladies shoots it.
Karma shoots the tank. But she doesn't
shoot the aquarium.
But she comes into the room after they were already there. She does not see the monster. She just walks in and shoots the aquarium for no reason.
It's red. She doesn't like the fact that it's red. And she's like, "That's not real water." And she shoots it. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
So, boom. they're like, okay. And then the zombies reach through the door. They grab Simon. And so Simon's going to be like, I'll blow up the things. And so then they
because luckily they did set that up.
Yeah.
I was talking over you when you said it, but they do set it up. They find gunpowder, and specifically the Rudy is like, well, it'll never be useful because one of us would have to be here to use it. Oh, what's going to happen? And then two minutes later, here we are.
So Simon's captured. He's like, they go down the hatch and they find a tunnel, and then they start to, let's see. Then Simon shoots the gunpowder. Really nice bullet. This thing I like. The bullet, because nice video of the bullet going.
Sure.
And the house blows up, and then they're down in the tunnel, and then they go, we will jump 2 feet to safety.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. As long as we're not in the direct output of that little door, we're going to be all right.
Then they go down the tunnel, and it's like then it literally becomes a video game, and we intercut between the video game constantly.
If they didn't do the intercut of the actual video game, I would really like this scene. Oh, okay. This is a scene. This is the movie scene. This is your homage to the video game. Forget the fact that we've shown the video game 800 times in this movie. This is the only moment that it should be like, oh shit, this is from the game. I love it. Because it's a cool scene. They're going down. They're doing a first-person shooter mode with the flashlight. The zombies pop out and they shoot them. It's nice. It goes on a little bit long because it's not super exciting. But it's a nice moment, ruined by the fact that every time they shoot a zombie, they cut to video game footage, and it looks terrible and stupid, and it's unfortunate. They blew it.
And then we actually have another nice thing. A couple of them are in the walls and come out as mudman zombies.
Yeah, like the mossy mudman. It's a cool effect. I liked it.
And they kill Karma. So you're like, okay. I'm like, okay, well, we're getting the big boss.
This is the scene I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's not even surrounded because the other two run away, but she's like, I'll hold them off. Why? Why do you have to? You're all running.
Because
they're running.
They're out of guns, and so
ammo.
She's gonna slow them down. Like if they have to eat her, that's gonna take their time.
Why? But why? Why are you volunteering?
They have to go like this, pull off your arm, and they pull at her hair, and then they're like,
it's really slowing them down. They got to take her apart bit by bit.
Yeah, it was stupid. Somebody's got to be the food, and she's the food for the day.
Just run.
We go down there, and then boom! I'm like, big boss time, and they go there, and there's like this cloak guy, and then the cloak guy pulls away his hood, and it's Greg, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's Greg. It's kind of weird.
Well, that's Greg. Well, what's going on?
I'm like, this is strange. And then they give things, and then the one guy's like, that's not Greg. And Greg pulls his face off because they see Greg's body, and it's Castillo, the bad guy who's Patchwork Man, wearing Greg's face just as a slap.
It's a nice moment.
That was nice. Just
nice
surprising.
Moment.
I was surprised. I was confused. You were like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice.
And then he's like, by the way, let me tell you what really happened. I made up magic blood, which makes me live forever. Then we have some weird scenes where he talks about living forever, and he turns into more of a zombie. But then he has to I don't know. I think the idea is that he needs new flesh, and then patchworks the people onto his flesh, and the blood keeps him alive. But they sort of make it seem like he becomes like a rotting zombie and then still stays alive, but really he'd just be luring people in there and patchworking himself back together.
Okay. And so it's handled poorly.
So that's why he didn't kill all of them upstairs, because he needs some of them to come downstairs.
Yeah. So he can use them.
To defleshinize them, and they can be his flesh. It's like, okay.
Now, two things we need to talk about, Dan. We need a flashback. I apologize. When they're in the house earlier, Rudy and I think Alicia are looking in a microscope.
Yeah, they see the blood.
They're looking at blood.
They see the blood, yeah.
Is Rudy a doctor? Is he a biologist?
Yeah, he is.
Is he actually? Or are you saying that just to fuck with me?
I mean, they didn't say it in the movie, but he has to be.
No, they didn't say it in the movie at all, but he knows that it doesn't look like human blood. And then he's like, this is genius. This blood's incredible.
He was dressed like a biologist.
What does that look like, Dan? If you had to describe a biologist to me, what would that be?
Rudy,
yeah, okay.
I'd show you a picture of Rudy.
No, just bring up this movie and be like, that guy. That's it right there. So stupid. But the other thing I want to talk about is the flashback.
Yeah.
The actual flashback.
Being being hung?
Yeah. It is incredible. So they hang Castillo, right? Yeah. And he's like sort of dead. But then he opens his eyes, right? And I was like, what? No one's going to notice he opened his eyes? But then it gets even better. He raises his arms. He's being hung. Just keep this in mind. He's hanging from a fucking lynch. And he raises his arms like, I will never die. No one's going to do anything about that? I mean, what's happening here?
Sure think they'd set you on fire, and that would kind of right. Kind of diminish your functionality of your blood.
I'm going to take off his limbs while he's hanging there. It is hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. So then they run away. They have one grenade left. They throw the grenade. Gigantic explosion.
Big explosion.
Doesn't kill the dude. Oh, they picked up a sword. They picked up a sword. It
doesn't even touch him. He doesn't lose any of his patchworked skin, which I thought would be a cool effect if he like came and some of his face was gone. He doesn't have a scratch on him. He's fine.
Why is the back of his head black?
I don't know.
It's really weird.
I don't know, Dan.
And then we have a fight with kicking and swords.
Now, luckily, you told me that she's a fencer.
Not a very good fencer because she can't beat this asshole.
Well, that's true, but she did look like she knew what she was doing. And as someone who did not remember they said she was a fencer, I was like, what is happening? She's all of a sudden a swashbuckling pirate? But, okay, she's a fencer. Not that she's actually fencing, by the way. she's not fencing.
She's sword fighting.
It's fine. She's sword fighting.
I took fencing in college.
How'd you do?
No, it's terrible.
Did you get the buzzer? Bang. No, that's a good thing, right? That's the point sound?
Yeah, I mean, if I'd have gotten good, you could have done that, but I was terrible.
Sure. I fenced one time in my life, Dan, at a Renaissance festival with my father.
Yeah.
And it was quite therapeutic. That's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say about it.
There are things I could say. I'm not going to say them. So, boom, boom, boom. They're fighting. He sticks Alicia like a pig, and then Rudy comes up behind, cuts off his head with an axe, and then somebody steps on his head. Hold on. Dan, you're going too fast through this. First of all, I don't know why. Yeah. I'm assuming it's an effects decision, and it would have been too hard to do effects somewhere else. But she gets stabbed directly in between her bosoms so that you can't actually see the wound. And it cuts,
so it's just blood.
But it cuts her. Yeah. It cuts her little top too. Her top like has a little mesh thing here.
Yeah.
That somehow
yeah, not anymore. Now it's open, and it's just
not that open. Just a little bit open.
No. It's not like open, but like it's just a really weird decision. But she falls down because she's been stabbed in the chest, and then his head gets cut off, and then the guy, the head is looking at Rudy and his body. So he's still controlling the body enough to choke Rudy.
Yeah.
But it's like, just turn the head. All you guys got to do, turn the head the other way. He can't see.
He's being choked.
Yeah, sure. He's being choked. So then she stands up after being stabbed in the sternum. Yeah. The bones are broken. Her heart's probably gone. I don't know. But she stands up. She squashes the head. And what does she say? Dan, it's the only one-liner of the whole film.
I got you, sucker.
That's pretty good. She says, game over, fucker.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
It was great. It was nice. And then, of course, she falls over because she's been stabbed to death in the heart.
But she doesn't die. She's still alive.
No, she doesn't die. Which we have to talk about.
I have a question for you, Tony.
Yeah.
I've rented the movie on Amazon. so I could take my time watching them. I knew you'd probably buy it on your Vudu.
I did buy it.
But you always buy it like Friday night, and it's too late.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I don't care. I was just going to buy it on your Vudu, but I didn't.
Oh, you should have.
I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't even want to be like.
I don't want to be part of that.
Adjacent to you purchasing it, I wanted you to purchase it. So that's it's like so when God's like tallying everything up, he's like, which of these?
House of the Dead?
Who spent more money on House of the Dead? Dan Goodsa spent $3.99. Tony spent $6.99. Tony, to hell.
To hell.
The movie, the dialogue all went out of sync for like this last couple scenes.
Did it? Okay, no, that must have been an Amazon thing. Okay. I didn't notice that. I feel like I would have noticed.
Okay, it was really weird. I was like, what is happening?
I kind of like it, though.
So this helicopter comes down from AMS, and three guys with assault rifles, and then two suits. And then you were like, they were like, check to see if any mammals survived or something. This is really weird.
Yep.
And then they just sort of put the two of them on the helicopter, we think, and that's the end of the movie. It was like you thought something was going to happen, that they were going to be like, but get the blood and you two are
Well, you think that it's like a Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation situation where they're coming in and being like, oh shit, we got to clean this up, but take the samples because we got to bring them back to the lab and start again or something, but no, they're just there.
Maybe they just leave in the helicopter, and the two of them are like, "What the fuck?"
All right, exactly.
You're like,
nice.
Where's the twist? And then there's no twist, and the movie ends, and you're like,
"Well, it doesn't.
The movie doesn't end.
There is a slight twist here. The voiceover. Were you listening to it?
What
does he say?
I feel guilty about going home. Is this the end, or is this the beginning?
Well, you missed one line.
Oh, probably.
Missed
a lot of lines.
He says something. I didn't write this down for some reason. He says something to the effect of, "Can I live with what I've done to her, what I've made her?" And then he says, "God ain't love a bitch."
Oh, so he gave her zombie blood?
Gave her the blood that lasts forever. I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying.
Why didn't we do that?
And there's also good news. There is a House of the Dead 2. I don't know if it's a direct continuation, but I'm going to watch it.
It said that the House of the Dead 2, the only carryover character was the Coast Guard woman Casper, who died.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense, Dan. She's dead. Is she a zombie? Is she the new Live Forever zombie? I'm gonna have to watch it. I'll let you know next week.
I have not seen the movie, so I don't know what happens in it.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll let you know.
Okay, let me know. And that's the end of the movie. It's just
that's it.
Terrible movie.
Great. It's great. I mean, it's a horrible film. Awful. It's terribly made, terribly acted. It looks like garbage. The dialogue is unwatchable, but it is fun.
So Tony, you just sit there and feel better about yourself. That's what happens when you watch a movie like this.
Listen, I always feel pretty good about myself, so I don't need things low with me. I like to punch up, Dan. I don't want to punch down. I just like having fun. I mean, this is a dumb movie, start to finish, but it's hilarious. It's a good time. It's worth a watch. Do you disagree? You don't think it's worth a watch?
Because there's nothing worth seeing. The acting is terrible. The people are terrible. Yep. The zombies are terrible. Yep. The fights are terrible. It's
not good at all.
It's just, there's nothing funny. There's nothing. It's irredeemable. I mean, things do happen, and the writers, they're not the worst writers ever, because at least the plot holds together, and
there are threads. Yeah, there are threads that work,
and there are little tiny parts, like when the captain's on the ship just killing all the zombies and smoking his cigar. I was like, okay,
yeah, great stuff. What I will say is this is not as, you're absolutely right, this is not as good as Alone in the Dark, which is, and it doesn't have, I don't know if you remember this, Alone in the Dark has this incredible scene that I will never forget, where they're in the dark and they're shooting the machine guns to the music. It's so great. I will never not think of that scene. And this movie is missing that. It doesn't have that one thing where I'm like, There it is. That's why I watch movies.
See, but that's the thing about it is the scene where they're shooting in the dark is terrible. You just,
it's awesome.
No, but you in your mind are like, yeah, this would be the greatest scene ever if it was actually done with some artfulness.
It's a great idea.
Like,
and I can't use it. That's the problem.
Yes,
I can't use it. It's already been done.
Yes, you can.
And just because they fucked it up, because he's not a talented director, no offense, guy. It's a great idea, and I love it.
See,
I will cherish it forever.
If you do a bit and your bit is terrible and someone else comes along and does the bit and does it well, they haven't stolen from you. They've done the thing well. You did
Improved.
it horribly.
It's an homage. I'll say that it's an homage to Uwe Boll. That's what I'll say when I do it. It's great, Dan. I'm sorry you didn't like it. I had a great time.
Yeah,
I had a real fun time this weekend.
I'm writing my new Space Duck story, and I was like, I wanted to have Space Duck go back to school. So I'm like, back to school. I'm like, what story should I parody that's like the ultimate, like back to school, science fiction school story?
Billy Madison. Science fiction?
Yeah, school story. It's the ultimate science fiction school story to parody.
X-Men.
Ender's Game.
Oh, I love Ender's Game.
Yeah, so I'm
not the movie. Not the movie.
So I'm
but the book.
Parodying Ender's Game. And that's, it's like,
I love that.
That's free reign. You can make fun of anything or steal whatever you want.
Steal whatever you want. There you go, everybody. There's the Dan Goodsell quote of the day. Steal whatever you want.
Okay, well, I'll do. We're just gonna talk about fun stuff that's going on.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've been watching The Changeling on Apple TV. And
do I know what that is?
No, probably not. It's like they have a baby, and then it turns out that the baby's like a monster baby, sort of.
Oh, okay.
And I've gotten to the point, I think I'm on episode 5, where this has turned into a true hate watch. Usually I'll just stop watching something if I don't care for it. But this show is so slow and so terrible for so many reasons. You're just like, oh my God. I was telling Shannon about the 5th episode, and she's just like, stop talking. I don't want to hear this.
I don't care.
So that's my
You've convinced me that I need to watch this, Dan. This is the first thing that you've said that I think I'm going to watch immediately.
Because it starts out good, and then
okay, it just evolves. All right.
We watched The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is what's his name? Finally got
Flanagan.
We'd started it, watched the first 2 episodes, and then kind of got out of it. And then we went back and watched the whole thing this week, 2 episodes a night, and then we finished it last night.
Yeah.
The ending's kind of weird, but really interesting. Yeah. Really interesting. He handles things really interestingly.
I think I get them confused. Is this Bent Neck Lady? Or is that Hill House?
I think that's Hill House. This one is
that might be Hill House. Bly Manor's the one.
The little kid, the two kids.
Okay. Yep.
Just so many interesting things to think about in his work. And then we got the new one coming out real soon, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I love him.
I mean,
that's all I need to say. I love him.
You're gonna have a really hard time making anything better than Midnight Mass, which was
the greatest show ever made. So
really a good show. And then the other show I'm watching is I started watching Gen V, the Boys spinoff.
That's out?
First 3 episodes are out.
Oh crap. Okay.
The Boys was okay. I watched some of the first season. I don't like Homelander, and it was just like, I don't know.
Well, you're not supposed to like Homelander, but Dan. He's horrible.
No, but I don't know. It just was like, I don't know.
So you didn't even get to season 3? Do you even know why I'm upset with that?
Because of the orgy?
First, great episode. Really, truly wonderful episode. But no, Jensen Ackles is Soldier Boy in season 3, Dan. I need you to get to season 3 so you can see the beauty, just the wonder that is Jensen Ackles. He's so good. He's so good in that show. Just do it for me.
Okay, maybe I'll watch some of season 3, but...
All right, thank you. Yeah, just skip to it. Doesn't really matter.
They make a lot of... The jokes are really... They just throw them away. but they're really edgy.
Yeah.
The jokes are very edgy. You know, there was a Bryan Singer joke that was just like really like, whoa, okay, they went there.
Sure.
And then there's some sex stuff in the first episode that I'm just like,
I'm ready for this. Okay.
I'm like, you can't be having kids watching this.
Well, sure.
But yeah, I've watched the first 2 episodes. The casting is amazing. It looks great.
Oh yeah,
and you are surprised at what happens with every character. You're just like, oh, okay, didn't see this coming. I mean, just the writing is really top notch.
I mean, listen, unlike you, I love The Boys. I think it's great. I didn't realize this came out, so you're right. I blew it. I should. We'll have to watch this then.
Yeah. Well, what have you been doing, Tony, in your wasted time?
Not enough. What I'll say is, Love Is Blind. The new season dropped, and we're watching that, and it's a disaster that you can't stop watching. The couples that formed this season are just atrocious. They are I don't believe any of them are going to make it. And it's, you can't stop watching, but it's awkward. It's some awkward television.
You know what you can do? You can not watch it. I choose not to watch it.
I can't not watch it, Dan. That's what I'm telling you. It's addicting. Reality TV has got its hooks in me for some reason. The other thing I wanted to say is this company called Trick or Treat. Hold on, now it's not loading. Trick or Treat Studios just announced that they're coming out with Goosebumps toys, 5-inch figurines of Goosebumps. So I'm going to be buying all of them, and I'm very excited.
Oh, did you get the special game box from what's his name? That guy you like, who's in the Scream movies? He played the police officer. Who's that guy? You like him?
Do we?
Yeah, who
David?
Yeah, David.
I can't think of his last name.
Arquette?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
He did some like promotion with Red Vines where you can get this game box and all this special stuff. And I was like, Tony, Tony. I could tell Tony about that, but he probably already knows about it.
Oh shit! No, I didn't know. All right, I'm gonna see if it's still available. It's probably not.
That'd be too bad if
I blew it.
Well,
thanks for telling me, Dan. Jeez,
I won.
You blew it.
I tell you, I won the mustard flavored Skittles,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a positive. How did you win that?
That was like, you had to send in a thing, and they gave them to randomly selected people.
Well, congratulations. How were they?
I didn't eat them. I'm saving them.
Oh, that's actually, you're right. I forget that you're a collector guy. Yeah, I would just eat them. And then I would post about it on my Instagram to my 8 followers and no one would care. And then it's over. And then it was all for nothing. Yeah. Just like the rest of my life. And then the last thing I wanted to say is Gran Turismo out on VOD. Watched it again last night, and it is delightful.
Oh,
Dan, it's on my Voodoo.
No,
Go watch it.
I love David Harbour. We love David Harbour.
This is a pro Harbour show.
Yeah, we're here fighting the good fight, at least until we watch his We didn't watch his Hellboy movie, did we? Did we do that one?
Yeah, we did. It was terrible. Yeah, we watched it real bad. Real bad. But he's still a national treasure.
Yeah. It's sad.
What are you going to do? Yeah. It's all right.
So if you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up or a subscription, or you can leave a comment. If you have a movie you want us to do, we're going to be doing a couple more. Oh, I guess next movie we're doing the Haunted Mansion. We'll do the Haunted Mansion, and then I get a pick after that, and I was doing a little research beforehand, and
little research
on a couple of possible movies.
Okay, I'm ready.
So
next week, Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. We go from big budget to no budget to big budget, and we're probably going to go back to no budget next.
And which movie was better, Dan? Big budget or no budget? Go. The fact that you even have to think that much means the worst one was better. I'm just going to throw it out there. Little budget was better, and you know it. You know it.
Big budget was better because those singing heads were. I like those. That was a good bit.
Yeah, the singing heads were great.
It's a better bit than anything in House of the Dead. Sadly.
Damn you, singing heads! You're right. All right, I'm sorry.
Haunted Mansion didn't have those singing heads. It's going to be very close.
Then I would have won.
Because
do you think they're going to bring him back for the new one? Uh-oh, I'm nervous. What if they don't?
God, the new one. I'm not looking forward to this movie.
Me neither.
That's the thing about it is at least the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion is just it's so incredibly innocuous. You don't walk away going like Eddie Murphy should be put in jail. I have the feeling this new one you're going to be like whoever wrote this should reassess their systems.
We're going to find out. I'm excited.
So join us next week. We'll be talking about some more. They should have called it some more Haunted Mansion, like s'mores.
Like s'mores. Yeah, the
Haunted
delicious chocolate bars. Yeah.
I don't like s'mores.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Wait. Did you say you don't like s'mores?
I don't like s'mores. I try. I ordered. I got like
the hell are you talking about?
I got the s'mores. What was the s'mores Lucky Charms? One of them. Got that. Didn't care for it. I eat it all.
Those aren't any good. You've had real s'mores?
Yeah, I don't like them.
You cook a marshmallow over a fire?
There's something that goes on that I don't know. There's some mix of the things that doesn't work for me. You know, and I love chocolate. I love marshmallows. I love graham crackers. I love chocolate covered graham crackers, but the marshmallow added in there just it.
What are you saying to me, Dan? This is the craziest thing you've ever said to me. S'mores are the most delicious dessert on the planet. Are you kidding me? A nice golden fried marshmallow oozing out as you pull this stick out and you squish it and the chocolate just starts melting a little bit because the marshmallow's so hot or you just eat it all in one bite. Are you kidding me, Dan?
I think there's too much chocolate in s'mores. I think they over chocolatize it.
You know what I do with a s'more? I take a full Hershey's bar, I break it in half, I put one half on the bottom graham, one half on the top graham, and I smush the chocolate onto the marshmallow. So it goes graham, chocolate, marshmallow, chocolate, graham. That is the perfect combination, Dan.
So that's too much chocolate.
You're out of your mind.
I'm actually not I'm not a giant chocolate fan.
I'm going to hang up on you.
I like chocolate, but I think of chocolate as more of a casual delivery system for better flavors.
What? Chocolate is the best flavor. I think of chocolate as the only thing I wish I could eat 24/7.
See, now if I'm talking about chocolate and marshmallows, they have like chocolate covered marshmallow like a bunny. In like a little package.
Yeah.
Has
for Easter.
Really thin chocolate on it, and then it has the marshmallow inside. But that chocolate's not a real milky milk. It's not a thick milky milk chocolate. It's a really thin,
it's not good.
Just a little delivery chocolate system. That's how I like chocolate.
If I eat one of those, I need to also have a handful of chocolate chips. So I take one bite of the bunny and then add some milk chocolate on top.
That sounds like you, Tony.
I can't believe you, Dan. All right, well, we're in a fight.
Happy Halloween.
We'll see everybody. Yeah, happy Halloween. We'll see y'all next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch him!